productions. We really miss seeing you in the theater, so we're trying to bring some theater to you. So this group of videos that we've posted recently are all revolving around Peter Pan. So Tinkerbell read us the story for our first video, then Kelsey taught us a dance to one of the songs from the musical, and then Spencer showed us how to really become some of the characters with some really awesome makeup looks. I'm here with some acting and character games. 2 things to start off. These can really be done with any age group of kids and adults who are kids at heart. And I'm going to be throwing in some modifications of how to really implement and play different ways. And 2, these games can be done with really any story, any book, any movie with your favorite characters and how they're feeling and what they're going through in their story, or what you might imagine them doing. So let's get started. First, thinking about the characters in Peter Pan. Who are they? There's Peter Pan himself, Tinkerbell, Wendy, John, and Michael Darling, who Peter and Tinkerbell go to visit. There's Captain Hook, Mr. Smee, the mermaids, the pirates, Tiger Lily. There are so many amazing characters that we could become. Think about how they were feeling throughout the story. Think about in the beginning when Peter first turned up and in Wendy, John, and Michael's room, and they said he was sad. First off, how would you look if you were trying to look like Peter? Especially with younger kids, but even adults. When I'm trying to get into a character role and practicing my lines and trying to get a different emotion, I may practice in front of a mirror to really figure out what my facial expression looks like as I'm trying to show a certain emotion. For young children and students, this is really important. 1, so they can see what their face is doing, but 2, they can begin to relate to other feelings that they see on our faces and other people around them. So make your face sad, like Peter felt in the beginning of the story when he just couldn't find his shadow anymore. It kept running away from him and it wouldn't stay attached. But then think about how Wendy, John, and Michael felt when they found a boy in their room crying over a shadow. I know I might feel a little confused, sad, because Peter Pan felt sad, but And then tell the whole story. Pretend being different characters in the story with your friends. You can do this electronically on video calls or with family members that you live with. Each pick a character and be thinking about how they felt through the story. Peter started out the story sad, but he wasn't sad through the whole thing. Once he told Wendy, John, and Michael about where he's from and where they can go and that they can fly, he surely wasn't sad after that, especially when they said they would go with him. If I were Wendy, how would I feel if someone just told me they could let me fly and not just in an airplane? That would definitely make me go from confused, a little worried when I first found Peter in my room, to I might be able to fly, maybe excited and nervous. So think about how your body would feel and how you change that to make yourself look like that. If you have the space inside or outside in different areas, or in your house, going through different rooms, maybe start at the beginning of the story. Say where Wendy, John, and Michael woke up in their room to find Peter, but then as they travel to Neverland, you might fly into the kitchen, and that may be also like a scene change when we're moving to a different place on stage, when the setting changes and different props come on stage too. And think about what happens in the middle and the end of the story and tell the whole thing. If you need to look up a book and read it again or watch one of the movies, that's even better. Get some more detail. That's awesome. Next is a game. And this is really something you can do with any characters. You don't just have to use the characters of Peter Pan, even playing this in general. You can throw in any character's names from any movie, book, story, anything you'd like. For now, I'm sticking with the characters from Peter Pan. So I just used basic Tupperware containers that I had in my cabinet, and then I made labels for them so it's easier to remember. Characters. This one has adjectives, which are describing words. Younger actors can come up with the basics: happy, sad, surprised, nervous, the simple ones. Adults throw in some harder ones. Maybe intelligent, or perplexed, or think of some of your own. I also didn't use up my printer paper and note cards. I just cut up pieces of an envelope that was in my recycle bin. So it's really easy and free to use. And then lastly, setting, where your characters are going to be. So all the characters are from Peter Pan today. All the adjectives have described some of the characters at some point in Peter Pan, and that they felt at some point throughout the story. You can throw in any adjectives you want though. Some of the settings, I have all the ones from Peter Pan in here, but I threw in a couple silly ones also. So just to mix up what's from the story, someone can pick one character. I just picked Wendy, it was the first one I picked. I'm gonna pick an adjective, scared. So I know that I'm gonna be Wendy when she's scared. Let's see where I'm going to be. At Never Neverland. Okay. So something may be happening when Wendy is feeling scared. This can be a real moment in the story that you remember, or you could make one up. It's up to you. So if Wendy was scared, I might change my body language to really become a character, and I might be more reserved, and change my facial expression a little bit. And if I'm in Never Neverland, I'm remembering that Wendy's not really from there. She may be looking around to figure out, she may hear a noise or get startled by something. Make a scene by yourself. If you have other people with you, get them to pick another character and an adjective for them. And if you want, older actors, they can have their own setting and be in a completely different place, but you guys can still talk to each other with your own character roles based on what you picked. Now I'm gonna do one that's more silly. Captain Hook is going to be sleepy, going to the bank. So what I know about Captain Hook when I'm thinking for a moment and getting into character is I know he would stand up pretty tall. He's in charge of the whole pirate ship. Maybe a hand at my hip, and then I would make a fist or I put a finger up to make a hook. And he said he was sleepy. Maybe he went through a storm last night and had to be in charge of the ship, or he was very busy pirating when he passed another ship. Who knows? But I'm going to the bank. Think, what would a pirate be doing at the bank? Maybe he just raided another pirate ship. So I'm going to pretend I have a bag on my hook of treasure that I'm going to give to the bank. So I'd walk into the bank very royally. Might put it up to the counter. Fill out a form. And if you're by yourself, talk to an imaginary bank teller. What would you have Captain Hook do? Really dig into that character. Oh, thank you, ma'am. I just need all this treasure as safe as possible. No one can touch it. Excuse me. What do you mean you can't keep it safe? Of course you can keep it safe. This is the bank. Where's a safer place than the bank? Also remember what body parts that you have that really are becoming the character. If I were Captain Hook, I'd probably probably use my hook to make sure my treasure stays safe. That's more like it. Oh, excuse me. Once I find out that you've got this safely deposited, I can finally take a nap. Again, there's more of you in the group. You could be talking to someone at the bank, and someone else could be pretending they're at the grocery store, having no clue what you're talking about. That improvisation and really not knowing what's going to happen next, it's okay to pause. It's okay to take a moment and think about it, because you're getting into the character. You're thinking about what they would do. But it doesn't have to be real. It doesn't have to be just like real life. It doesn't have to be something that character would really do. You think Captain Hook would really go to a bank? No. So have fun trying some of these with any story characters, any movie characters, or just pretending to be someone else for a little bit. Could be fun to escape. Hope you're being safe and healthy, and you join us next time. Bye!